Hi guys, thanks for joining me again on this channel. My name is Katla Khongwane, like I've mentioned before. Thank you so much for the support and watching my videos. Today I want to talk about emotional intelligence, EQ. So, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to have control over your own emotions and to be able to perceive other people's emotions, and based on that ability, the ability to then make the correct decisions and to change your behavior accordingly. Why is this important? This is important because the more self-aware you are, the better decisions you make generally in life, and also specifically as regards, what I want to talk about at the workplace. So, where do we start? Let's break down the meaning of emotional intelligence first, and then we'll get to some examples that I want to give you. And hopefully, this will be very helpful to you and you'll do some work on it. The first thing in sort of talking about emotional intelligence is the ability, like I said, to identify your own emotions, to evaluate them, to control them, and to express them accordingly. So, what that means is, for example, being able to control anger or your temper if you have a temper, and being able to identify when you're about to lose your temper and controlling it, and rather being productive in your temper. So instead of losing your temper at work, for example, with a colleague or your boss, which might have very serious consequences, you are able to quickly identify it, quickly calm yourself down, and therefore react differently. I think this one is very self-explanatory by the example that I just gave, why it's important. Because if you lost your temper, for example, with your boss, you might not have a job tomorrow. So things like that, little things like that, being able to control yourself, that is the first part of emotional intelligence. Another example I can give of self-awareness is feelings of jealousy, for example, in the workplace, feeling that you hold somebody in contempt because you're a little bit jealous that they're doing better and better than you. So instead of sabotaging a person because you are jealous, you are able to recognize that you are jealous. What can you do better? Once you know that you're jealous, you can always say, okay, I'm jealous because X is doing better at work, but what are they doing that I'm not doing that I can do to be a better person at work, or a better employee, or a better employer, or whatever the case might be? So instead of just being ugly, you might turn it around and say, okay, maybe I need to put in a few more hours. Maybe I need to start work earlier. Maybe I need to go home a bit later instead of going off at 5 o'clock. And already there, just being that self-aware about that feeling that you had and placing it accordingly where it belongs, labeling it where it belongs, you've allowed yourself to already change your behavior and your next steps following whatever it is that you're feeling. The second part to emotional intelligence is being able to perceive other people's emotions, so also not just being self-aware of yourself, but being aware also of other people's emotions. So same scenario, being aware of how someone else would react if you were ugly to them, if you were sabotaging them, how would they feel? And by knowing how they feel and being aware and being perceptive of their emotions, you could probably guess what their next move is going to be. It's very obvious how that can be an advantage to you, because then you can almost, sort of strategize around other people if you can guess what they're going to do next based on their emotions and you're aware of their emotions. So, for example, which is probably a very controversial one, but I'll use it anyway. Example, a pregnant woman at work. So your colleague is pregnant, she's a little bit moody, she's a little bit sensitive. Being aware of that, and playing to that can work at your advantage. But at the same time, if you're not aware of it and you're not sensitive to her emotions or her heightened state of emotion at that time, you might actually, end up on her bad side, for example. So things like that. Guys, I'm using very simplistic um, examples here because I want everybody that's watching this video, including younger people, to understand what I mean when I say it's important to have emotional intelligence through your work life. because I know that some of the people that listen to my videos are not necessarily 10 years into the workspace. They're about 19, 20 years old, still starting out. So for those of you, please don't get annoyed at my very simplistic examples of what emotional intelligence is. The third part, of course, is the facilitation of thinking and obviously behavior. Like I said in my examples, that when you make a different choice and you use your self-awareness of your emotions and self-awareness of other people's emotions, you make different choices. Your thinking process is different because you're aware that this type of thinking or this type of feeling could lead to this kind of behavior from a person. Or if you are aware of yourself and your emotions, you know that if you lose your temper, you might do this. So it's probably best not to lose your temper. The last thing I want to talk about, just to sort of sum it up, is the reason why this is important in the workplace is that generally it's been found that those that have higher emotional intelligence do better at work. Generally, they make better decisions, they can think better, and strategically can put themselves in positions to do better in terms of promotions, for business people, in terms of, getting new business, getting new clients, keeping and retaining employees. You do better by having a higher emotional intelligence. Now, where do you get emotional intelligence? Well, there's lots of books out there about emotional intelligence and how to control your emotions, how to manage your emotions, how to own your own emotions. Guys, this is not just important just for work. This works in life too. Having control over your emotions and making the right decisions all the time. One of the books that I want to suggest to you is a book that I personally read that I thought was an amazing start for anybody that wants to get into, training yourself to be aware of your emotions and having a higher EQ. And the book is called Emotional Intelligence, Guide to Mastering Your Emotions, by a guy called Scott Mercer. That's Mercer, Scott Mercer, owning Guide to Mastering Your Emotion. It's a brilliant book. Let me know if you want me to send it to you, email it to you. But as always, if you have any comments, any questions, anything you want me to talk about in these videos, please contact me on our Facebook page, which is Creamfields Recruit, our Twitter page, which is at my personal Twitter page, which is at Katli Dupe. My name is Katla Khongwane. Thank you so much for viewing my video, and I leave you with peace and a good week. Bye.